We probably have people watching this who don't really know what the components of a MOOC are.
Yeah.
So you have video lectures you've mentioned.
Yeah.
We have the forums. What else is there?
Those are actually the main elements. Every time there's a lecture, there's a weekly assignment, which is just a PDF that they can run off and print off on their printer. They can download it and print it off. And then the idea is, what I say is, most of the time should be spent doing those assignment exercises, checking with other students. There's no feedback officially. They have to look at other students. We have what we call community TAs, which are registered students who've got some experience and have sort of almost this year I've actually made some selections of TAs rather than just let it self-selection. But there are some people there with some knowledge who go around and provide some help. But really they have to form groups and assess each other's work on the assignments. And then when they finish the assignment, there's also at the end of each week a problem set, which is assignment type questions, but they're actually online and there's a submission date by which they have to submit. It is multiple choice, it more or less has to be, because it's going to be machine graded. I spent a lot of time last year trying to design questions which, even though they're multiple choice, which I hate instinctively, I mean, every instinct I have as a teacher says multiple choice sucks. But there's really little else that you can use. And so I tried to design problems that would require maybe 2 or 3 hours thought before you could click that little box, and tried to make it so that if they legitimately did it, and of course this is an easiest one in the world to fool, but if they did it legitimately, then they must have gone through certain kinds of thought process to get that answer. Well, must is a bit overdoing it, but there's a good chance they probably did the right thing.
That's interesting, because when you think about someone making that commitment to give that heavy level of thought, even to checking off a box, does a MOOC self-select for a student who's pretty committed as opposed to knocking off a credit that they have to have?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that some of the interesting research we've been doing in the School of Ed at Stanford is around, and some of my colleagues, Emily Schneider in particular, I want to mention, has been doing work around what kinds of learners there are in these MOOCs. And they've come up with some preliminary classification systems and different ways that people approach the courses. And there's actually, the majority of people are not what we would consider like the student who's there to take the entire course in depth, to do every assignment, post in the forum, watch every video. There's kind of the more common approach is like kind of this explorer approach, where somebody will come in and they'll watch a few videos. Maybe they'll stay there in Keith's course for the first couple weeks. They'll look at a couple of the assignments. Maybe they'll post in the forum once, or maybe they'll check in. We actually had a lot of people sign up for the course after the course was almost over, or even after it was over. And they'll just download the materials and explore it that way. And that's something that we, as course designers, have to support, is that not all of our, I mean, we definitely have a kind of a core audience of the people who are taking the course in full, but we also want to provide materials that are going to be useful for people who are just checking in or who just want to kind of see what it's like.